What is up, friends? We are back here talking more PGA Tour action. We are in Houston this week for the Houston Open, home of our world champion Houston Astros. Worth mentioning because you're going to see a lot of Astros emblems all over the place this week as Memorial Park, the Houston Open, has been a bit of a labor of love for Houston Astros owner Jim Crane. I recall like the T markers are Houston Astros logos, and the fact that they're now world champions and it'll be about a week removed from that. I'm sure that'll be everywhere. Wouldn't be surprised to see lots of Astros in and about this event. I don't know that anyone cares about that, but it is a municipal golf course. Can par 70, plays up to 7,400 yards, although in tournament play the last 2 years, they really only flirt with that 7,200 yards. But again, I know the Astros take a lot of heat in their owner, but golf is a labor of love for him. This Memorial Park, a muni, open to the public. They've invested a lot into it, and it's great to see the PGA Tour come here regularly now 2 years in a row with Kokrak and Ortiz, ironically, live winners here. I don't know if that's a trend we can look at in this week. I don't really know what to make of that at all. But Memorial Park is one of the more difficult regular events on tour. There are not many events in the entire schedule that it's harder to gain strokes than at Memorial Park. A true test of golf, distance, and long irons will be a play. Short game, all about it. Guys with elite distance and quality short games are sort of the players that I have narrowed in on this week at Memorial Park, the Houston Open. I think Cadence Bank is the sponsor. We don't care about that stuff. Let's get right into it. Scotty Scheffler, he's the top dog this week, coming in at 6-1. Too cheap for any of my blood. In front of the 20s, we still have Aaron Wise and Sam Burns. You've seen me rant on Burns before. Natural born winner. This one probably sets up beautifully for him. If I was going ultra cheap, Sam Burns would definitely be the way to go. Aaron Wise, we're all waiting for it. 18-1 here. The big number, that one's at Bet365. I don't know that I can pull the trigger on that. How can I pull the trigger on Aaron Wise at 18-1 when I can bet Tony Finau 22-1 at Bet365, or the enhanced win at 365 at 24-1? Even Russell Henley off the win at 22-1. Hideki's here coming in at 22-1. If Aaron Wise wins, I guess I'm just going to have to miss it. My best interest for Aaron Wise in betting is he struggles for a bit and we come to some stronger fields in the new year, and maybe we can get him at bigger numbers. I'm not betting him at 18-1. Congratulations if he wins. Seems like the sports books don't want me to bet him at 18-1. That's a price that I just can't take any part of. Keeping up with the board, as I mentioned, Tony Finau, probably the most attractive bet for me, under 30-1, although I haven't made it yet. Sitting in front of 30, Taylor Montgomery, I've seen as high as 28-1. There are 25s out there, as low as 22 using the grid. The guy just, I don't know, he's the real deal. I don't think he's finished beyond 15th in any of his PGA starts. In fact, finishing 10th or 15th, you'd argue the guy's trending in the wrong direction based off his, inaugural top 5 and top 10 finishes. Like last week, when we finished recording our video, they really did boost Montgomery from the high 20s into the 40s. Maybe that can happen again this week. Not ready to quit him, but I don't think I can get there at this under 30 situation we have at the moment. Maverick McNeely, mentioned long irons. That's a guy that does stick out for me. Wish it was a little farther back, but you see the Aaron Wise pricing. You see the Taylor Montgomery pricing. Just behind me, you see some Denny McCarthy pricing. Based on a lot of that, I don't know that the Mav number is unfair, but the guy has not won. We spoke about Jason Day last week in not betting him. It is great to see him continue his form, much like we hope Ricky Fowler can continue their form. This course does seem like it could line up very well for Jason Day. Seeing him at 33-1, as low as 25. Use that odds checker grid. Make sure you get the best number around, certainly when doing it. Emiliano Grillo, 45-1. I don't know if we should get off. We did mention we could be on this thing to the finish. There are 50 to ones out there. It's as low as 35. That is one that I definitely could be betting into. Davis Riley, man, the guy was flirting with 100 to 1 last week, shows a little bit of life, and they squeeze Riley to 50. That's a guy I was really excited to potentially bet this week. 50 to 1 on Davis Riley does seem to be the number across the board. Elite distance, quality short game, maybe the breakthrough. Well, people want to pay up for some other ones. Sahith at 50 does certainly ring a bell for me. Again, there are a lot of guys 50 and above that I really could get in on this week, from Griot, Riley, Sahith. Can I mention Taylor Pendrith? Because a month ago, he would have been half of this. Guy takes a little bit of time off, and we can get Taylor Pendrith beyond 60 to 1. I think that's a bet with elite distance, quality short game. That's one I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid this week. Man, at the end of this one, I'm probably going to have a pretty full card. I'll read it off at the end. But Taylor Pendrith is a guy that I don't know that I will certainly avoid. Does seem to line up very well. Again, guy takes a little bit of time off. We get this huge number with Pendrith. That could be one I do not want to ignore. Keith Mitchell, I've seen as high as 80 to 1, as low as 60. That could be one that certainly works. And how about this? Dean Burmeister, 95 to 1 over at FanDuel. That is a bet I'm going to make. Elite distance, quality short game, coming in at 66 over at Bet Rivers. We're going to take an advantage of that. 95 to 1, Dean Burmeister. And to wrap it all off, I played 100 to 1 over at Bet Rivers on Sepp Straka. I've seen him as low as 60s. On the grid, there are a bunch of 80s, 100 as well. So that is where we're going to do it. Sepp Straka, I have been very good at getting in on Straka at the right times, despite not hitting the win. He's performed very well. He's given us a taste. So I'm calling it here in Houston. Feels like a really strong setup week for Sepp Straka. Those long irons. Mwah! Let's get it done, Sepp. I'm in on that 100 to 1. So let's read them off here. Sepp Straka, 100 to 1. Let's avoid those 60s and those 80s on the grid. Dean Burmeister, 95 to 1 over at FanDuel. Let's avoid those 66s on the grid. I'm going to be in on Taylor Pendrith. That's in the mid 60s. I'm seeing as low as 50 when using that odds checker grid. So those bets are in. And we're circling around Sahith. We're circling around Davis Riley. We are circling around Killa Keith Mitchell. Wow. Emiliano Grillo. So that's about 6-7 names, all 50 to 1 and beyond. I guess if I don't play the top, it can allow me to do all sorts of things. If you do like a taste of the very top, my recommendation would be Sam Burns. That's a little too rich for your blood. Obviously, I mentioned it's not hard to twist my arm on Tony Finau, but elite distance and short game at a course that has, I'm not going to say major championship teeth. That's a ridiculous statement, but there's less than a handful of courses where it's harder to gain strokes than Memorial Park has shown to be. That rings a bell for Finau. And if you want to get like fancy and try to call your shot, that's where Taylor Montgomery and Mav would come in for me. But that's it. I've got 4 bets in already. Pendrith, 3 bets. Pendrith, Burmeister, and Straka. I know. Who's this Geoff Fienberg? Starting reading out your card from 100 to 1 and moving backwards? I know. I don't know. Houston, feel like things can get real silly in the swing season, despite good players still just win the golf tournaments. No secret about that. I've mentioned a lot of names 50 and above. Feel like I'm going swimming in the deep end this week, and that has not been my MO at all. And to argue, it hasn't really been the most profitable betting strategy on the PGA Tour. You check the comment section in the video. I'll have my final betting card up there in about a day or so from now. Let other things that I've mentioned percolate, but I did tell you where my mind is, and we are swimming in the deep end, especially for me, because I'm usually all in front of 50, but I don't know. We're getting a few more names out of it, it seems. I'm Geoff Fienberg. That was the Cadence Bank Houston Open, sponsored by the Houston Astros, ironically. So if that World Series tilted you, then a lot of the visuals of this golf course and the ambiance of it will probably tilt you even more. Let's catch a winner. Let's supplement those NFL tickets on Sunday. Baseball's over, but hockey, basketball, World Cup's coming. I'm sure there's always a fight. MAC action. There's seems like college football every night. ODDSCHECKER's got you covered with the best. Keep it right here. Hit that like button for me. I'm out. We'll be back next week for the RSM, and then maybe a little time off. Recharge those batteries on the golf season. Off season should be longer, but we're not going to do that now. I'm Geoff Fienberg. We are out. I'll be back next week talking RSM Classic. And if I knew how to hit stop, we would have been out here before. Now we're just going to keep talking. ODDSCHECKER. Subscribe, like. I'm gone.